Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures on what is a beautiful morning here on the allotment. The sun's shining and blue skies, the birds are singing, there's a little bit of wind, there's lots of things to do. So, welcome, sit back, relax, put your feet up and I'll explain exactly what's been going on here on Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. And yes, you've not got your date wrong, this is a midweek show. Have that much to do, I thought I might as well put a little program out midweek. It's great to have you on board. I'll see you shortly here on the allotment. Well, we're into April. I'm now going to start planting my seed potatoes, and I've done a trench here, as you can see, and it's about 6 inches deep. What I have done in the bottom of here, I've put lots of organic matter so the seed potatoes can rest on that and it will give them lots of nutrients as they grow, which is brilliant. When I dug out, believe it or not, before I dug out, should I say, on top of the soil, under the plastic covering, were loads of slugs. So I've handpicked those and they've gone somewhere else. We don't want slugs around because they could attack my potatoes and they could do damage to the rest of the plants we're putting in. So yes, handpicked this morning. There were loads of worms in here. In fact, speaking of which, here we are, look. There's a little worm and he's having a wonderful time. And well, we really need to encourage worms in your garden because they dig the holes down, they move the manure, everything around, and they're brilliant things. They really help. And what I like about it is they put lots of holes in, which encourages the water to drain away. So thank you very much for all of your hard work you do. I'll pop him back down here, hiding from the birds, of course, because I've dug over. And we may get some visitors in a short while. Not only have I put organic matter in, I've sprayed it with a solution of seaweed to add a bit more nutrients, and also some other plant-based nutrient water feeder in the bottom here with lots of additives in the hope to help the potatoes along. So they're going to go in there, so about 6 inches deep, pop some potatoes, some more soil on top once they're in. We'll leave it a day, they'll cover it with black plastic again in order to encourage the warmth of the soil because it's still getting very cold at night. In fact, it was minus in the greenhouse last night. When I came down to Allotment this morning, on top of all of the coverings we've got here, there was little ice, the water that had frozen on top, and so it still gets really cold, which is not a good thing for our soil. But the sun's out and they'll have a couple of hours sun on here in a short while when it moves around past the big tree here on the allotment. Well, I'm sat right on the edge of the camera today just to show you that I've been working on the bank here, and it's all been dug over, it's been raked. I've got as many pebbles and stones out as I can possibly do. Because of course, I don't know if you know that these are near houses, and in the old days when the fires, they had the coke, fires, and all the rubbish from the fire would be tipped on here. So there's lots of old coke and bits of stone and rubble and all sorts of things. And so I've made it, because here is my, hopefully, cottage garden, spring flowers, all sorts of flowers here. And well, I've been sowing and it's time to do that. The sun's out, it's lovely and warm. There's a little bit of wind getting up now. And well, here in this section, I've grown some Californian poppies. They're really delicate and light. There are lots and lots of colour though, which I absolutely love. Now next to it here, in this section here, I've grown those poppies that for Chelsea pensioners I was telling you about. They raise money and they're called the Victoria Cross, and they're beautiful. They've got a little white cross in the middle of the flower. Astonishing what they can do and how they can get the flowers to do that. Presumably this is man-made and not a natural flower. I have put some sweet peas in here, just dotted about, just the seeds, to see if they come up. And I've got loads in the greenhouse and they'll be transplanted as soon as they get a little stronger outside when the weather now is improving. We're supposed to have this for the whole week. I've of course got some pollinators to attract the pollinators into the garden. I've got a mix of wildflowers here and some cottage garden flowers too. So a whole range of flowers in this bed. I did find an old box that I'd had from years ago donated, and it says it's a wildflower area. Well, I've put a little bit of that on top of here because, of course, I don't know whether they'll come up, but we'll see what happens. And also, you don't want it overpowering the plants because literally the seeds, poppies went about that far, so there weren't that many. But when they start coming up, and of course, if you leave poppies, then they'll, over the years, they'll just spread their seeds. And at one point, this may become a poppy bank. As you see in the distance, I've left my dandelions there and hope they have some flowers for the lovely bumblebees that we get on. Funny enough, today, I've just seen my first wasp. I know, incredible, isn't it? 4th day of April, and we're getting wasps already. It was big enough, it could have been a queen, but we'll see. Disappeared, actually. There's too many people around at the moment. So, brilliant. We've started. The flowers are in. Fingers crossed. May cover this area with some fleecing just over the next few days because it's still cold overnight. Well, I thought with the sun being out, it's time that I put these carrots that I bought for just over £1 because these were dying when I bought them. And well, what a bargain I've got. I didn't think there were many in here actually, but so far here I've got 30 carrots and it looks like I'm heading towards maybe 40 carrots, which is not bad, is it, for £1.50 actually it cost. I mean, normally these cost £2 to buy. So if you've not done like I've done, is sow my seeds a few weeks ago. In fact, they're starting to come up. I'll take a photograph, fingers crossed. They're very, very small at the moment, but they are finally coming through. So I've got some carrots over there covered at the moment. Now, these are going to be covered here. So I've got my sticks and I might have to break this one in half. So we'll put that round there. And then what we do is we get our fleece and we're going to make a little wall like this around the carrots along here. Because of course, we don't want the carrot fly. And it's really dangerous at this time. I might be a little early, so we might have escaped the carrot fly. Being attracted by the smell of the carrot. They love the smell of the carrots and they'll attack, actually, they attack the carrot just below the leaves and at the top, and they dig in there and it ruins the whole carrot. It's interesting, these are rainbow carrots. At the moment, they're all white. I wonder when they change to their colours. That would be interesting, won't it? So what I'm doing is, I have my measuring stick, which is this one here. Let me put those carrots out of the way. And on here, I have 2 marks. One is 5 centimetres, which is the distance that you go in between the carrots. So 5 centimetres, and then 15 centimetres in between the rows, which luckily in this bed means I can get 3 rows in, and we'll have, as I say, about 40 odd carrots by the end of it. These will take a few months to mature. What I'm doing is as well is because you want the carrots to be nice and long. When I put my hole in, so just measure my 5 centimetres here, about there, I push it right down and make a hole so that I know that that's nice. There's a nice hole there, and then all I do is get the carrot and pop it in the hole. I don't backfill it. Let it go down to the bottom, and then right at the top, I'm just going to fill it in at the top. Because what will happen when I do water is that the soil underneath will come into the carrot and it won't squash it. So it's got plenty of space to grow. Isn't that amazing? Lovely carrots, can't wait. It's interesting with carrots, isn't it? Because I love the old carrot. I'm going to have lots this year, brilliant. Blanch them, chop them up and freeze them. Or blanch them, don't chop them up and don't freeze them. Or blanch them, chop them up, make them into mash and freeze them. Lots of things you can do later on in the season with the old carrots. As I say, you don't need to have a bed like I've got. You can have a bucket, you can have a tub, you can have anything you like to grow your carrots. The ones I've got over there behind me are orbital carrots, so they grow about 1 inch, 2 inches round, of course. Some are oblong orbital carrots, which is weird, it depends on the make. These are the long, thin ones. But even here, you can put these into a tub and grow your carrots. They'll absolutely love it. So you can grow carrots anywhere, balconies, shelves, in your conservatory, outside like I'm doing here. I mean, this is a covered anyway, but not covered enough. If I'd put these in the other greenhouse, I wouldn't need to double net them. But they do need double netting. But isn't it lovely to have sunshine, to be outside in the warmth? It's still a little chilly, as I said earlier, but it's nice to finally be able to start sowing and planting things that are going to produce beautiful food. Now I hear you cry, why not just buy them from a supermarket or a garden shop or somewhere like that? Well, you can probably get all these carrots for a little bit less money, I suppose. But do you get the taste? Because these, and I know from experience from last year, taste absolutely, completely and utterly different. For a start, they have taste. They're not just made in some factory somewhere. And I say factory because when you grow, even in big environments like this, it is a factory really, even like it's an outdoor one. They're putting them in under artificial light a lot of the time over winter to get them to this stage. But now we've got them here and I've got them under my control. Then they're not treated with chemicals to keep them fresh while they're in storage. They're not held in cold store to keep them fresh while they're in storage. We pick them and we use them. And that's why we grow at home. Come on, get a bucket, get some carrots in, some potatoes in your buckets as well, in your balconies, whatever you want to grow. That's the beauty of growing yourself. Because what we can do when these are established is just come and have a look. You can't do that when you buy them in the shops. Well, I might as well end the show as I started the show next to where the carrots are. And I've covered them with a fleece. It allows water through, so that's fine. Don't have to worry about it when it rains. And even when I'm watering later on, I can just water straight through that. They're self-sufficient now. I got 50 carrots in the end. I mean, normally it would have cost £2 for this tray here. Even that's not bad going, is it? I'll let you do the maths. I paid £1.50 for them because they were looking a bit dry and a bit, well, forlorn, bless them, at the garden centre. So luckily, hopefully all 50 will come up and we can have a fantastic time towards Christmas, because these won't be ready until September, October, November time. Isn't that brilliant stuff? I can't believe the weather here. I'm absolutely sweltering. I've had a few messages from viewers in Canada, and they don't start growing or can't start growing really because of their weather conditions until about May. But you're all keeping your fingers crossed that that's going to happen. And I've had a message from Morag and Spike, and they've been contributors to the show for a long, long time. In fact, right back to when we first started. And Morag, you've just told me you've got an allotment. Isn't that exciting? Fantastic news. I can't wait to see what you and Spike are going to start growing. You've been very successful in the past. I wonder what difference is in growing in Canada as to here in the UK. Do you grow different plants? Do you have to do different techniques? It'd be interesting to see how you get on with your allotment. But I'm sure you must be able to grow carrots. I'm sure leeks, onions, potatoes, all the staple varieties, but maybe they're just a different variety. Interesting to find out. Great to have you on board once more. Thank you for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. This has been a little bit of a midweek special. I hope it's not gone too long, because I do tend to talk when I'm excited. And I'll see you here again on the Sunday show. Ta-ra for now.